What's going on, you all? Coach Reese here, Prophletics Fitness and Athletic Performance, coming to bring you a video about strength training for boxing or strength training for combat sports in general, but strength training, what to do, what not to do, things of that nature. Just to let you know, this video may be a little sensitive for those who are involved in the bodybuilding or physique industry or whatever, but you'll find out why later on, because these two, strength training and bodybuilding, have nothing to do with each other. You'll find out why. So, how to get stronger, why people want to get stronger in combat sports. In boxing, people want to punch harder, you know, and you're in there with grown individuals. You have to get physical, and you need to be strong. Same thing with MMA, same thing with any combat sports. As an athlete, you want to be strong. You don't necessarily need to get big, but you need to be strong. And I'm sure that at this point in your life, or if you haven't seen it yet, there are always going to be scenarios where you see a fight and the smaller guy gets the best of the bigger guy. Not only based on their skill differences, but you've seen the smaller framed individual grab or, you know, have a harder strike when it comes to fighting the bigger individual. You've probably even seen a bigger individual get cleaned up and scooped and took off their feet. And this feat is not making any sense to a lot of people because optically, the bigger guy should be the bully, right? Cannot be any further from the truth. The strong guy or the strong woman, the strong person is going to be the individual who has the strength, how can I say, advantage, the strength advantage. The person who trains for strength is going to be stronger than the person who trains for hypertrophy. Hypertrophy would be what bodybuilders use to put on muscle to actually gain muscle size. So strength training is not hypertrophy training. Hypertrophy training is broadcasted all over the world because it's what the Americas, I'm going to say, use as far as being the pinnacle of being fit. Now, we're going to get into a subject right now that may be sensitive for bodybuilding because bodybuilding has no athleticism. I'll repeat it. Bodybuilding has no athleticism. A bodybuilder's job is to get their body to a point where it looks better than the individuals to their right and to their left. Okay, that's it. Nothing else. You know, they put on their skivvies or whatever the case is, and they get out there in a condition called dry, as to where they're dehydrated, and they're actually at their weakest point that they could actually be while they're on that stage for whatever short period of time that they're there. That's not an athletic performance. That is a beauty pageant. You know, so you've got people competing in a beauty pageant to say, I look better than this person, or I have, you know, more serrated muscles or whatever the case is. That's not what you're doing when you're competing in sports. And they call that a sport. Unfortunately, I always stand by the mantra, it's not a sport. It's not anything athletic. It's not anything competitive. And you can barely move on that stage. People have died on that stage. You can barely move because you are nutrient deficient. You are depleted. You have nothing in your body. How is that healthy? And it's unsustainable. And I've been at a few of these shows. I've helped work a few shows. And they are the most aggravating, crying, moaning, complaining individuals ever backstage because they are hungry, they have headaches, they're on the verge of passing out, and they can barely move around. So, I'm sorry. Posing is not athletic. That is what's plastered in front of the world. You turn on your social media and you've got everybody chasing the six-pack and everybody chasing the shredded individual who took that picture for that moment in time on stage or for a photo shoot. Being on stage and being on the photo shoot or whatever the case is, if that's your goal, make that your goal. But you're not going to be able to walk around like that. Okay? So in a way, bodybuilding being plastered as the pinnacle of fitness here in the Americas, it's toxic. That's not sustainable. Leave that and I say this respectfully, leave that for actual bodybuilding competitors or whatever the case is. The rest of us need to be on the other spectrum over here as to where, hey, we're getting ourselves into a sustainable state where we can always walk around like this. We're not hungry. We're not starving ourselves. We're not always in a caloric deficit, and we're good to go. So on the strength training side, what you're going to do, or what you should aim to do, is do strong things. Like your Olympic lifts. You have your bench press. You have your squats. You have your hex deads. You have your bent over rows. You have your RDLs. You have your clean and presses. You have clean and jerks. You know, hang cleans. You're basically focusing on the larger Olympic lifts, but at a heavier rep range. And what I mean by that is it could be 3 to 5 reps. You know, power lifters focus on 1, maybe 2 reps or whatever the case is, because their performance is to only move it 1 time cleanly. With us in strength training, what you're looking to do is make sure that you lift these Olympic style weights or Olympic style exercises at a low rep range. From me, I'm working on doing 5 sets of 5. And you're not looking for the burn. People feel like if they're not getting a burn during their workout, then, oh, I'm not getting the work. I'm not getting quality work. That's not the truth. That burn and all of that is for hypertrophy and endurance, and we'll get into that too. There are 4 different phases: strength, power, strength, hypertrophy, and endurance. So a lot of people, when they don't feel like they're getting a burn, they don't feel like they're doing a workout. Oh, I'm not burning. I'm not, sweating too tough or whatever the case is. I'm not getting a good workout. No, in strength training, you're looking to zap those white, fast twitch muscle fibers fast. So you're looking to drain the strength from your body, which happens within the first 5 reps. Understand that? I hope you understand it. First 5 reps, that's where you're looking for things to go, to zap out. And then guess what? You have to take a longer break period. So you're probably looking anywhere between 2, 3, maybe even 4 to 5 minutes, depending on what it is that you're moving. Or if you have it set up in a strength circuit. If you have 3 or 4 exercises set up, I guarantee you're going to take a 3-minute break. You have to be able to move heavier items to get stronger. Okay? With bodybuilders, they're looking for that burn. So they're looking at the 8 to 12 to 15 rep range. That's more so putting on muscle tissue and putting on size. So 5x5s or even 4x6s. Now there are some researchers and studies that have shown that 6 reps kind of tilts into the hypertrophy situation. But I'm not completely against it. But I mainly stick to 5x5s. So 5x5s, as far as setting up your exercises. Let's say I had a squat and a bench and a bent over row and an RDL. I'd do 5 at each. 5 here, 5 there, 5 there, 5 there, and then take a rest. And then 5 there, 5 there. So I repeat that for 5 times. And I'd also have the 3-minute break right in between there. After that, I may do some auxiliary supportive muscles, because you do have your biceps, triceps, and, calves and, rear rotators that actually, help as far as that goes. However, those should not be the main focus. The main focus are your prime movers, the larger muscle groups and things of that nature. You're not looking to make your biceps be super big because you're not going on stage to pose for a camera. You're not a poser. That's another thing. Listen, strength and hypertrophy, nothing of the same. Nothing of the same sorts. Individuals on the stage, like I said, are looking to pose. They're looking to look imposing. And that's something with a lot of you guys. A lot of you guys want to go out here and look imposing. Your looks are not going to defend and save your family. Your looks are not going to improve your skill set or help you actually in combat. Strength will. Strength will help you. A lot of guys feel like just because they look like something, like they're going to intimidate someone. Someone who does strength training actually knows, like, hey, I can tighten this individual up, or I should be able to tighten this individual up, or, you know, we could actually compete or be among the same plane. Just because you're bigger doesn't mean you got that engine in there. You might have an F-150 body, but you might have a V4 sitting in that engine. So, focus on your strength training. Does this mean you're going to look terrible? No. Your look and all of that stuff is going to come in your nutrition, okay? We have a lot of trash food over here in America, and you have to actually be vigilant on how it is you eat and what it is you eat. So just because you're strength training and not doing hypertrophy training doesn't mean that you're going to look terrible. You're going to look extremely athletic as long as you're doing athletic things. Your bench presses, your hex deads, your clean and presses, your Olympic lifts. Now, there is another area as to where, after you do your strength training, how all of these things tie in, because once again, you're working mainly separate muscle groups, except for one of those exercises I named. So you've got the hex deads, right? Those are working majority leg, a little bit of the central nervous system, up the spinal cord, whatever the case is. You've got your bench press. That's more chest, tricep, you know, a little bit of your shoulders, whatever the case is. Your back with the either weighted pull-ups or the bent over rows. Those are working your, you know, your back, your biceps secondarily. Now, you have to be able to tie all of these things in together. What does that mean? You've worked the entire kinetic chain, right? You've worked the legs, you've worked the back, you've worked the core, whatever the case is, and I'll get more into other exercises and things of that nature and instructional videos and other videos outside of this one. So what we have going on here in the States, or within a lot of people, is imbalanced bodies. People don't know how to use their bodies as one motor unit anymore, because all your muscle groups are tied in together on a pulley system. So if I lengthen my bicep, my tricep is squeezing. If I squeeze my bicep, my tricep lengthens, so on and so forth. All your muscles are tied in. So you have to train your neurological system to work together. So what I mean is, if you've got squats, which work your legs, and then bench that works your chest, and then bent over rows that works your back, and then RDLs that works your hamstrings, don't forget to choose exercises that actually tie all of these together. That's why the clean and press is one of my favorites, because it's a full body exercise that actually works the whole body together. People don't know how to work their whole bodies together. You've got to tie it all together in order for your strength mechanism and your mechanics to work. So you can do your strength training separately, and then after that, do something that ties them all in together. Maybe a landmine press, you know, which I'll have videos on these exercises and all of that later on in, you know, separate videos or whatnot. However, you have to be able to tie your strength in together and learn how to use it. You know, we develop a lot of imbalanced bodies out here, you know, chests that are too strong for, you know, backs that are too strong for the chest, you know, legs that are highly underdeveloped. You know, you got people out here walking around like yield signs, legs that are highly underdeveloped with big upper bodies. And then you wonder why you're not as strong as you think you are. Laying on a bench has nothing to do with me going to the gas station right now, somebody grabbing me, or, you know, me getting into a confrontation and, you know, we're exchanging. It's not like I'm going to say, hey, let me lay on the bench so I can give you my best strength. Or, you know, let me get in a situation as to where it favors me because this is what I do in the gym. This is why you have to tie things together. That's why strength training is not hypertrophy training. Hypertrophy is not power training. They're all different aspects and different animals, and they all have their advantages and disadvantages.